So to begin our storyline, we want to kind of ask you to take a moment and step back into some learning experiences that you've had before. Okay. So John Dewey tells us that to be educative, a learning experience has to not only generate fact, knowledge, and belief, it has to also increase the likelihood that the learner will actually seek similar but expanded experiences in the future. So in other words, he's saying to us that education is an experience that leaves us wanting more. It leaves us wanting to go back and do this again. Like when I was growing up, I learned how to play the flute, and it was the way in which I was learning to do that that made me want to keep picking up my flute and pick up those pieces that got harder and harder and harder, and yet not give up on them. Versus a miseducation that sometimes leaves us knowing something, but maybe not knowing what to do with that knowledge, or not really ever wanting to go back and do that again. Like, I remember when I was in junior high school, when I was in 8th grade, when we started diagramming sentences. And I actually loved diagramming sentences. I was all about that, with the straight lines on the paper and all of that. But it was something that I did because it was almost like creating an architecture, but I can't remember any of that now. And I didn't go home and want to, pull out a book and diagram all the sentences in it. I knew when I was in class that was going to be fun for that moment, but once it got into all those dangling things, it just got too hard, and it didn't mean anything to me. It wasn't connected to writing. It didn't help me become a better writer or a better reader. So we're thinking about what kind of an educational experience provides education versus miseducation. What kind of educational experiences are going to want to keep our kids coming back and learning more and wanting to take that learning outside of the walls of the school and into the world. So let's think about this a little bit more. So he also says that we want to give kids something to do and not just something to learn. That it's in the doing of that where thinking is really being demanded of us. Okay? And that when we are in situations where we're being demanded to really think harder and deeper and longer about something, that learning really occurs. Okay? And if you back in the storyline episode, the storyline slide, the first bullet that was talking about storyline said that it was connected to this idea of constructivist learning, which is that we're, instead of bringing kids into school and just trying to open up their mind and dumping all this information in, that we're trying to just create a space where kids can construct their own meaning of it. So that's what he's saying. All right, so if you will, think about this with me for just a minute. So I want you to think back to some of your own learning experiences, those that have taken place in schools and out of schools, when you were learning to do something. Okay? Learning to drive a car, bake a cake, read a book if you remember that, learning to write, Janet remembers, maybe learning a new art medium, the twirl of the tongue, I think that means I learned to play the flutes, water ski, snow ski, anything that you learn to do something. And if you would, in your notebook or wherever you're journaling, you would just take a few minutes and just jot down whatever comes to mind when you think about that experience. What was it about that experience that was there that kept you wanting to come back? What was it that helped you learn to do whatever it was that you were learning?